Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. On today's show, after a slow start to the season, are the Cowboys one of the league's worst teams? Plus, Hall of Famer Rod Woodson weighs in on the Brady versus Rodgers debate. And could another Oklahoma quarterback hoist the Heisman Trophy? Joel Klatt is here to break it down. Skip Shannon, let's go. Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers? It's one of our favorite debates, and it just got a new twist. ESPN's Ian O'Connor shared a big reveal from Brady on Sunday. O'Connor tweeted, quote, Tom Brady once told an NFL coach, if Aaron Rodgers had the Patriots' offensive scheme and institutional knowledge on opposing defenses, he'd throw for 7,000 yards every year. He's so much more talented than me. Hall of Famer Rod Woodson is here, I think 3 days in a row. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Do you agree with Brady here?
I agree that he is more talented, per se, as an athletic person. Just because you're more athletic doesn't mean you're a better quarterback. I remember I used to go out pregame. All right, and I used to go out pregame and watch all the quarterbacks throw. And I went out and watched Joe Montana. I'm like, this is Joe Montana? Like, and the ball was like fluttering, arching. I'm like, boy, I'm going to have like 4 picks today. And then them cats was like putting their foot in the ground and the ball was there. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Whoa, this ball's getting there a little bit faster than I thought it was going to get. I mean, so the talent is not always, just because you're more athletic, you're a better overall athlete doesn't mean you're going to be a better quarterback. Now, I understand what he's saying when he says institutional knowledge, because they have an institution over there. They got guys working in the back room that can't come out of the rooms. These guys are working weeks ahead of time. So they're doing a lot more things than other coaching staffs around the league. But at the end of the day, you think about, okay, Aaron Rodgers, he's played 9 years now. He threw for over 4,000 yards 6 times. So you're going to tell me he would have threw for 2,500 more yards every year? That would be hard to believe, but I do understand that he's saying he is more talented because he's a better athlete. Doesn't mean he's not more accomplished, because we know Tom is. And
accomplished. That's what everybody thinks.
But pure quarterback, I like Aaron Rodgers. I like what he's saying. I do get his gist. But at the end of the day, I'm just going to take you guys back. At the end of the day, the best pure passing quarterback that I've ever seen, Dan Marino. Now, if Dan Marino had these rules, now, Danny would have threw for 7,000 yards. I can tell you that right now.
He was good.
I'll buy that.
He was good. He could spin it.
He could spin it.
Skip, Rod and I and everybody been trying to tell you this for the longest.
We just told you.
No.
What's up? We know what's up.
We know Aaron Rodgers is a better athlete. He has legs.
I'll definitely give you that.
And what sets Aaron Rodgers apart is his ability to throw the ball accurately, not only from inside the pocket, but rolling left to right. We've never seen anybody throw the ball like that, especially rolling to his left. For a right-handed quarterback, he feels comfortable throwing from the pocket, outside the pocket, and the arm angles and platforms in which he can change and throw the ball. We've never seen anybody drop it down like he can. But Skip, the institutional knowledge, when you have a great defensive mind that's putting you and says, look here, okay, when you come out in this set, this is where you're vulnerable. And if I'm a defensive guy, I'm going to play you to your weakness, and I'm going to keep you to my strength. Skip, that does something for a quarterback. And him being in this exact same system with the exact same head coach for all these years cannot go unmeasured, Skip. You just want to make it seem like, oh, this is Tom Brady. He could. No. I don't believe Tom Brady would do this any other place than with Coach Belichick in this situation where he is right now. You're splitting hairs. I mean, once you get to this level of greatness, you're really splitting hairs. But all that being said, that old green and gold 12, give me him.
So, I would like to point out that Bill Belichick, before he had Tom Brady fall out of heaven into his lap as a head coach, he had coached 6 years, and he had 5 losing seasons in those 6 years. And his record, until Tom Brady fell out of the sky, was 41-57 as a head coach. This is just in the regular season. Since he got to coach Tom Brady, he is 328-61 in the regular season. It's not just about Belichick. I'll give you a little credit. I always give him 25% of the credit, but it's 75% Tom Brady. And to your point about better athlete, better thrower of the football, almost Marino-esque, I'll give you that. He is Marino-esque. Is football a game that's judged by judges? Because if it were, if you had like 6 or 8 judges up there holding up cards, give you a 10 for that. Aaron Rodgers would win the championship every year. But that's not how it's scored. It's scored on the scoreboard. It's scored by who gets in the end zone the most or keeps the other team from getting in the other end zone.
Correct.
Right? And there's never been anybody better than Tom Brady at that. And to your Montana point, I covered a bunch of Cowboy teams that lost to Joe Montana. Dennis Thurman was a cornerback on one of those teams and then a safety. And he told me after his first episode with Joe Montana, he said, man, the ball gets there a lot faster than I thought it was going to get there.
Absolutely.
So does Brady's. It's pinpoint accuracy and it's leadership. In the end, you got Brady and they don't have Brady. In the end, he's going to make fourth quarter plays that other quarterbacks can't make. So this very quote smacks of the greatness of Tom Brady because I don't know where the quote was uttered to the assistant coach. Was it on the field before Brady and Rodgers met at Lambeau Field? Well, if Brady crossed the path of an assistant coach before a game, a Green Bay assistant coach, he's going to rave about the other quarterback because that's who he is. He's aw shucks, gee whiz. He's over the top humble. He is still the greatest football player ever, is the most humble player in the league. No quarterback would say about Rob Gronkowski what Brady said the other day. He said, we have to live up to his greatness. What superstar quarterback? Trust me, Dan Marino would never have said that about Duper or Clayton. Like, we have to live up to their greatness. It's just not how Danny's built. It's not who he is. Aaron Rodgers would never say that about one of his receivers because he's got diva in him. And again, Tom Brady, when he had 12 stitches in his throwing hand against Jacksonville in the fourth quarter, was he shaking his hand like in the cold, like trying to make everybody remember, I got 12 stitches in my hand?
No, he just waited for Tom versus eyes. So you can show everybody look at it.
After the fact. But did you remember it during the game? Was he doing this and saying,
Aaron Rodgers wasn't shaking his leg.
He was limping
hurt.
around, limping around.
He couldn't move.
He was limping all over the place like, oh, I'm hurt.
And you know what? Guess
you
what?
got to remember I'm hurt.
And guess what? When you play the New England Patriots, you know one thing.
Yep.
They have Bill Belichick and you don't. And you know what? His team.
Is that what Philly was thinking in the Super Bowl?
Yeah. They're like, they got Brady. He'll give us the ball because he already dropped one, so his hand's a little slippery today.
He gave him the ball.
Yeah, he dropped the touchdown.
Yeah.
That was the Lombardi.
How many picks did he throw in that game? How about none? Yeah. He threw for a playoff record 505 in that game and scored 33 points and lost because Bill Belichick gave up 41 to Nick Foles? Yeah. What?
At the end of the day, though, when you're looking at both quarterbacks, they're two different styles. All right, really, think about it. Aaron Rodgers is athletic, so he's going to get in and out of the pocket. He's going to move. He believes in his feet. He knows he can extend plays. He knows he can throw on the run, and he can throw it on target on the run. Mm-hmm. Where Tom knows he can't run. I mean, you got to watch this 40. Just watch his 40.
Okay, it was the all-time worst. But just real quick, does he not have pretty good pocket feet?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm going to say.
All right.
The one thing he can do, he knows how to dip his shoulder, set back up, and he's not afraid to take the hits and throw the ball down the field. And he's never had great receivers. I mean, Randy Moss, the 1 year.
Yes.
And they just toured the league up that year. So if he ever had, some perennial Pro Bowlers, I wouldn't imagine what a tight end.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, if he would have had that at the receiving core, just like 3 years, 4 years, it would have been crazy, I think, what he was
The greats, you have to be willing to stare down that gun barrel because you know you're going to take that lick to the chops. And very few people, because if you ever flinch, in the defense, because they watch that tape, they get the close-up too. If they ever see you flinch, it's Katie Bartideau. Because we remember in 2001, we had a guy that would flinch. And they were blitzing us the first play of the game. Normally they like, okay, let's see what they're going to do. And they come out the first play of the game, first snap of the game, and they run a blitz because, he didn't want to take that lick to the chop.
And we'll say he's looking at color. He sees color.
I'm just saying.
Huh? Who was that guy?
I don't remember.
Huh? Who was it? Oh, so you're going to be an anonymous quoter.
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
Let's just say, he wasn't willing to, you got to be willing. Look, you're going to take that helmet to the chin, because back then you could put the helmet to the chin. Mm-hmm. You're going to take that shot.
Put your body weight on the quarterback.
Yeah, but you got to be able to do this, knowing that hit is coming here, and you're going to do that. Happens, Skip. It happens.
So Aaron Rodgers, during his tenure in Green Bay, has had 4 Pro Bowl receivers. Tom Brady, during that same time that Aaron's been in the league, has had 1, Wes Welker. Now, he's got Gronkowski, but I'm just talking about wideouts.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Aaron Rodgers has had some.
On a consistent basis, but he had Randy Moss that 1 year. So he had
1 year, one great year. Randy
Moss.
He was
Randy
plugged in.
Randy went to like 2 or 3 Pro Bowls while he was there, Skip. It was that last year that, he wanted more money. But here's the thing. When those guys, hold on, how many Pro Bowl receivers were they that Aaron Rodgers had before they got with Aaron and after they left Aaron? James Jones, I mean, think about it. James Jones, as good as he was with Aaron Rodgers, he was never like that outside of Aaron Rodgers. Remember, Skip, they brought him back mid-season, and he ended up getting like 7, 8 touchdowns.
He had Donald Driver, he had Greg Jennings, he had Jordy Nelson, he's got Devontae Adams.
Yes.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Tom hadn't had that.
Now, I'm going to tell you, when you have a quarterback like that, he helps those guys. Now, I'm not taking anything away from the players because I think they're really good receivers. But when you have quarterbacks like that transcends generations again, and they could play in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, they make their players better. Those quarterbacks are franchise quarterbacks.
Franchise.
Rod Woodson, one game for your life, Brady or Rodgers? For your life.
Who's the coordinator?
Doesn't matter.
What system am I running?
Well, it just
am I running a West Coast-based system? I'm taking Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, you would not. Yeah. Okay, I'll take Tom Brady, and you're going to lose your life.
No, I want Rodgers and Belichick.
Rodgers and Belichick?
Yep.
Belichick just gave up 41.
I don't care, but I want him.
You don't care?
Good. Well, give him to me, then you shouldn't want him. Okay, he can just get, last game he played, he gave up 41 points. You don't want him. I take it.
So during the prime of Aaron Rodgers, we have watched Tom Brady play the greatest fourth quarter in the history of the Super Bowl. He threw for 124 against the Legion of Boom and brought them back in the fourth quarter with 2 touchdown passes. And then the next Super Bowl he plays, we see him play the greatest fourth quarter and overtime. He throws for 246 on Atlanta in the fourth quarter and overtime with 2 more touchdowns.
Exact same system, too.
Okay? And then last year, 505, that's the all-time playoff record in the Super Bowl. So on the biggest stages in the sport, that guy plays at the supremely highest level. Your guy, since he won his one and only Super Bowl, is 5-6 in the postseason. That's below average.
Skip, I'm gonna leave,
really? Is that what you want?
I'm going to leave this for you right here. I'm going to leave this for you right here, and I'm not going to say anything else about it. In Tom Brady, his last 4 playoff games, that defense has given up 0 points in 3 of those in the fourth quarter. Tom Brady's defense has given up 0 points in 3 of his last 4 playoff games. That's 3 Super Bowls and an AFC Championship game. I'm going to leave that there for you, Skip. You do whatever you want to do.
I'm going to leave this here for you. Bill Belichick did not play Malcolm Butler last year. Felt a little sabotagey to me.
You go with that sabotage.
Okay, well, I'm just saying. And
I was
gave
with
up
you right
41,
there. I tweeted that out myself.
Did
like,
you?
I think
what's going on?
That one.
You trying to make it a little harder on Tom Brady to win another Super Bowl?
No, Tom Brady harder
Really?
himself, dropping
You
a
like
touchdown
that?
and fumbling.
You like that?
Did Tom Brady fumble that ball?
And by the way, I didn't even bring up the fact that with 12 stitches in his throwing palm, it's hard to throw a football in the cold with 12 stitches in it. I don't care what you say. It's just hard to grip it.
But you know
Wait
what?
a second. He threw for 138 on Saxonville in the fourth quarter with 2 more touchdowns. How
He has
can you
late
not?
Bortles.
You know what? He is Michael Jordan and he is LeBron James.
Stop
It's
it.
as simple as that.
Yeah,
it just boils down to that. I can't sum it up any better.
But let me ask you a
than that.
question. Why didn't you say he was sabotaging the Patriots when he put Malcolm Butler in for Kyle Arrington when Kyle Arrington was giving up all those plays?
That was before Mr. Kraft stepped down from above and said, you will trade Jimmy G and you will keep Tom Brady next year. That changed everything.
No,
Yep.
Mr. Kraft all right with me. Sent me a
Yeah,
pair of
he's
shoes.
all right with you.
Yep.
I know. Yeah.
I just hate that we have to wait until week 9 to see these.
Woo!
That would be something.
The anticipation.
How many cases do we got on that?
Oh, we'll see.
Well, we got to see. We can do it right now. They playing.
Well, I'll take a case on that right
I
now.
want 2 cases.
Okay.
And Rodgers will have better stats.
Well, he probably will.
No, I don't want that bad.
But
I don't want
do
that
around
bad
here,
against
Rod?
defense.
Lot
Not
of-
the way Trubisky was lighting them up.
A lot of
Good
you.
parts of that.
Thank you for joining us. It's been fun to have you.
No mercy.
Support for Undisputed comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans, America's premier home purchase lender. Let's talk about buying a home. It can be one of the most important purchases you'll ever make. But today's fluctuating interest rates can leave you with unexpected higher payments, which can turn a great experience into an anxious one. That's why Quicken Loans created their exclusive power buying process. Here's how it works. They check your income, assets, and credit to give you a verified approval. This gives you the strength of a cash buyer, making your offer more attractive to sellers. Once verified, you qualify for their exclusive Rate Shield approval. They'll lock your interest rate for up to 90 days while you shop for your new home. Then, once you've found the one, if rates have gone up, your rate stays the same. But if rates have gone down, you get to keep that new lower rate. Either way, you win. It's the kind of thinking you'd expect from America's largest mortgage lender. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/undisputed. Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year purchase transactions. Additional conditions or exclusions may apply. Based on Quicken Loans data in comparison to public data records. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 3030.
No mercy. It is hard to transition from Brady and Rodgers to Dak Prescott, but I'm going to try, just for Skip. So he had...
Dak belongs in the same breath.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. I
Just
think
wait.
it's a smooth
Just
transition.
wait. He had a season opener to forget in that loss Sunday.
Go ahead and hate,
16-8,
Jay.
and I know Skip was watching some other game. So they lost to the Panthers. He threw for under 200 yards for the 7th time in his last 9 games. Despite all that, Jerry Jones still had high praise for Dak and even compared him to Cam Newton and Goff. Take a listen.
We have a dimension in Dak being able to run the ball. You saw what Cam Newton does with that. Norv Turner can be as traditional a play caller as you can ever imagine, was doing a great job of using Cam. We've got a quarterback that is somewhere between the one that you saw with the Rams last night and Cam Newton. He can do some of what both of those guys do.
Okay, so he compares him to Goff. He compares him to Cam. What is Jerry trying to say, Shannon?
Jerry is trying to convince us that Dak is something that he's not.
Oh.
Skip, if you don't mind me asking, the two guys that Jerry compared Dak to, can you tell the people at home that's not really on the up and up and know the minutia, can you tell the people what Jared Goff and Cam Newton were? Where were they selected?
Is it my turn already?
No, I just-
Wait, I'll go
no.
now. Can I go now, Jenny?
Jared Goff.
Rhetorical question.
Jared Goff was the number 1 overall draft pick. Cam Newton was the number 1 overall draft pick. See, I love everything about Tom Brady, but I hate Tom Brady for this instance because he was a 6th-round draft pick. Everybody thinks every guy that they draft outside of the 2nd round is going to be Tom Brady. And that's what Jerry Jones thinks. Jerry Jones thinks that he has Tom Brady in a 4th-round selection. You keep talking about QBR. He was number 4 in QBR. Nobody thinks Dak Prescott was the 4th best quarterback last year in the NFL.
Number said.
Nobody. So, Skip,
But
stop.
nobody gave him an F except Shannon Sharpe.
Yeah, they did.
Because it's just straight hate.
Skip. So, hold on. Jerry said in regards to the Dallas receiver, he said they didn't play bad against the Panthers. They did get separation. We just didn't get them the ball. Who is this we talking about? Now, who has the ball in their hands that can get it to the receiver, Skip Bayless? Now, that's what Jerry said.
Is it my turn?
No, it's not your
Oh.
turn. I didn't ask you. It wasn't rhetorical. I said this is what Jerry said. Jerry said the receivers got separation. We didn't get them the ball. Well, Jerry Jones doesn't wear number 4. Jerry Jones doesn't play quarterback. So who is this we Jerry might be referring to that said the receivers got separation, but they didn't get the ball?
Timeout. Separation plus what equals completion? Separation plus
Accuracy.
protection.
Accuracy.
Separation plus protection
Accuracy.
equals completion.
Accuracy.
Protection. The quarterback has to have time to throw. Jerry didn't say that because Jerry knew that was the problem. He didn't have time to find the open receiver.
It sounds like to me
Aha.
that Jerry, while he's saying he could be Goff, he could be Cam Newton, is placing a lot of this at the feet of Dak Prescott because he said, we had separation.
Get that.
We just, Skip, you saw some of those balls, skipping it to the tight end, throwing it behind one guy that was wide open, sat down and Dak threw it behind him. You saw that, Skip Bayless.
Yep.
Will you stop with this? You and Jerry, listen, how about just let Dak develop? I've never seen an owner compare his quarterback to contemporaries. I didn't hear Dan Reed say, Elway is a cross between Marino and Montana. They don't do that. Where are they doing this at? Now, is that what we're doing?
There's only one Jerry Jones.
Right. And the fact of the matter is, Skip, his quarterback, like I said, maybe he's plateaued. Maybe the best Dak Prescott Skip Bayless will ever witness was his rookie year. You might have to come to that realization.
Want to bet on that?
You might have to come to that realization.
He doesn't
yeah,
want to bet on that because you're
I
afraid.
bet. Because what's the likelihood they're going to be 14-2? Because that, in order for him to beat what he did his rookie year, they need to be 14-2, and he got to be 27 touchdowns or better and fewer than 4 interceptions. I bet whatever you want to bet.
Travis Frederick play in 2016?
Hey,
I think he did. I think he played all 16 games.
But
I don't know.
See what you're doing? You keep saying all these extra need to be there in order for him to do what he does. No, we don't do that for any other quarterback.
Did Ronald Leary play in 2016? Oh, he's a Bronco now, right?
We don't
He was
do-
the left guard. Oh,
See?
Oh, interesting.
We need Ronald Leary. We need Tyron Smith. We need Zeke to rush for 1,800. We need Travis Frederick. We need Zach Martin. We need a receiver. We need Julio Jones. We need all these things in order for Dak to be successful. Wow, Skip Bayless. Wow.
Interesting.
Just wow.
Okay. So, is it my turn now?
It's your turn. You've been interrupting me for this. It's been your turn.
How long was that?
Whatever.
I mean,
Jenny, if you were a better referee, you would actually give me a chance over here, but nope.
She already know. She already know you about to
Let's the
lose.
clock run. Let's the clock run.
one day,
Yeah.
if you're nice, would you like to go, Skip?
Yeah, thank you, Jenny. So here's the point. I have interviewed Jerry Jones for hundreds of hours for 3 books I wrote on the Dallas Cowboys, and he can be a little wacky when you get him in the right place at the wrong time because he will leap before he looks. He'll just spit something out like, what?
Spill his
What are
guts.
you doing? So apparently he had watched Jared Goff play the late game on Monday night, and then he does the early morning Tuesday radio show, and he's kind of reaching for a comparison. He's somewhere between Cam and Jared Goff. Jared Goff? What are you talking? He's better than Jared Goff.
No, he's not.
Jared Goff? Really? Jared Goff, as a rookie, had a QBR of 19 for the whole year. That was way at the bottom of the
How much we put on that Jeff? How much you gonna put on Jeff?
I think it's my turn.
Okay,
isn't it?
okay.
Or wait, do we have a referee? Maybe we don't have a referee. Maybe it's
Again, with
unref.
calling out
No.
my job.
No holds barred. This is a no holds barred match.
I know it's Shanjim, but you have to put him back in his place and say, Skip, it's your turn, and you have to dock him with a red card for,
What is it,
Shannon,
soccer?
it's not your turn right now.
Okay,
If you
thank
could
you.
just
I'm-
patiently wait.
okay.
Thank
So
you.
he had a QBR of 19, while that same year, a rookie in Dallas named Dak Prescott, a 4th-round pick, had a QBR of 79 and led the league all the way to the last game of the year. So that was a sensational. He finished 3rd, but only because they mailed it in Philadelphia because they didn't need to play anybody. So this past year, when you gave Dak Prescott an F, Jared Goff had a QBR last year. This is the big Rams breakout year of 52, scale of 0 to 100. So it's middle of the pack because he finished 20th in the NFL in QBR. Dak was 70 last year, which was 4th. So by this stat, which I love because it encompasses all quarterback elements, legs, arm, down, distance, situational, turnovers. So Dak has a much better QBR in both years than Jared Goff. So I don't want to hear Jared Goff in the same breath with Dak Prescott.
What was Dak's QBR last year?
70 for the whole year.
70, okay.
Yeah, and so, by the way, just because this guy gave him an F, we have to reiterate what happened last year, Shannon Sharpe, because
Right, yeah,
against those Rams, this was at Jerry World, this is a big game, kind of a turning point game. Dak Prescott had a QBR of 81 while Jared Goff had a 46. That's head-to-head with Dak Prescott. He almost got doubled in a game the Cowboys should have won, but they didn't have Sean Lee to slam the door shut in the second half. And Todd Gurley went off. He went crazy. He was running wild. We could not contain him. He caught a little dump pass over the middle and took it like 75 yards right down their throats. Then next week comes Aaron Rodgers. He comes to Jerry World. And guess what? Dak Prescott has a 97 QBR, which was, I think, 4th best in the league the whole year. 97 to 77 for Aaron Rodgers. Should have won that game. Nope.
Had a 21-6 lead.
Yeah, and Dak Prescott hits T-Won't right in the hands with the ball. He hit him right in the hands, and it goes right through his hands to Demarius Randall, who just walks backward. He moonwalks into the end zone. with it, right?
Yeah,
oh, it was beautiful. Beautiful to watch.
Like Michael Jackson at the Grammys in 83.
But he still had a QBR of 97 because they didn't dock him for that because that was a pass that should have been caught.
Can I ask you a question, Skip?
Yeah.
You tell me Dak had a 70 QBR last year. Dak has the better offensive line. You told me Zeke is a better running back than Todd Gurley. Why he only get 9 wins and Jared Goff had 11?
Well, because the best running back in pro football missed 6 games. Sean Lee missed 6 games.
He didn't miss the game that he played against
6
the Rams.
games, and Tyron Smith, the best left tackle in pro football, missed 4 games.
Okay.
And the Zeke suspension hung like a cloud over that team from day one,
Okay, you know
all
what?
year
You know
long.
what, Skip, I'm going to concede. Tyron Smith.
And by the way, Des Bryant went completely south and led the league in drops.
Okay, I want to give you this. I'm going to give you this concession. I'm going to give you this concession. Tyron Smith did miss 6 games, but can you tell me the offensive linemen that the Rams have that are better than Travis Frederick and Zach Martin?
I don't know. Maybe that's why Jared Goff wasn't even in the same breath with Dak Prescott.
And that lets you know, even though Tyron Smith was out, the Cowboys still have 2 linemen that's better than anybody on the Rams offensive line.
Well, you say that by reputation. I'm not sure by performance that was the truth.
Well,
I'm just not sure.
I mean, they got
because
both.
I didn't see it because Todd Gurley had a monster year, so somebody had to be blocking for somebody.
He
right?
he better.
Maybe he got some blocks.
He better. No, but that's what you told me. You tell me your offensive line. I just want to know.
So then the bigger picture, back to Cam Newton comparison, is that I thought this was going to be a Dak-friendlier offense. My interpretation of that was Dak's going to run with the ball a lot more than he did last year when he got an F from you.
Yeah.
That they're going to see a lot more read option, see a lot more rollout, see a lot more quarterback draw, see a lot more Dak with the football. He's a big, strong man who can take the punishment.
Okay.
He's 250 pounds at about 6 feet 2 inches tall. And I thought on Sunday, silly me, that Dak would do to the Panthers what Cam did to the Cowboys, especially in the first half. And I'm with Jerry on that. That was an astute point because I was with Norv Turner under Jerry Jones when he was the coordinator for Troy Aikman.
Troy's old school.
And this is old school. Yeah, Norv is old school.
Yes,
this
absolutely.
is pocket passing.
Yes.
And yet he let Cam carry the football in the first half to the tune of 59 yards rushing. That was sensational.
Yes.
That tilted the playing field in Carolina's favor in the first half when they basically won the football game and then hung on in the second half, barely, because they had 74 total yards in the second half. But Cam took the game over in the first half. I thought that was going to be Dak Prescott. So that was a shot at Scott Linehan. What are you doing? Because I don't know what the first half was.
The same thing he's been doing since he's been offensive coordinator. And we're going to talk about this a little later.
Yeah.
But Skip Bayless, at some point in time, as Coach Saban says, trees do not grow to the sky.
We got that one again?
Yeah.
That failed NFL coach?
Don't do that, Skip. Why are you taking shots at the man?
I don't know.
You don't know
Look
what.
at these QBRs last year for Dak. Against Kansas City at home, he had a 96.
They won that game. So if you don't mind me,
96.
asking, when he had those high QBRs against the Rams and the Packers, can you tell the people at home that didn't get an opportunity to watch that game because it might have not been blacked out in their area? Can you tell the people what happened in those games?
Did the quarterback play well enough to win both games? Yes, he did.
Yep.
Did Ezekiel Elliott take the game over? No, neither time did he take it over. But all I hear from across the table is it's Zeke's team. Well, that day it was Dak's team.
No,
but it wasn't. They didn't have a defense.
I don't do did they have a chance to win.
Interesting.
All I'm saying is, Skip, when you come to my restaurant, you know what I serve.
Okay.
You know what you can get.
Well, my team was over 500, so they went to your restaurant more than not because they won 9
I got
games
two
last
things on
year.
my menu, hot L's or hot dubs. Now, which one did Dak, against Green Bay and the Rams, what did Dak Prescott get served, Skip? A hot L or a hot dub?
He should have gotten a table. Should have gotten like a celebrity table.
No.
Because he was a celebrity.
No.
Is that enough Cowboys for now? I think it is.
Yes.
Oh, Jenny's getting
now.
tired of shit. We got cowboy hate from the middle.
Well,
it's okay. It's okay.
Why Jenny got to be hating? Jenny's
Hate.
No mercy.
The Cowboys offense struggled big time in Sunday's 16-8 loss to the Panthers. Dak Prescott didn't throw a touchdown pass, and the offense didn't score a point until the fourth quarter. The lack of offense led Troy Aikman to be critical of the team while he was calling the game. And yesterday, Stephen Jones defended his team. Let's take a listen.
I just think at the end of the day, everybody can play armchair quarterback and point fingers after the fact. There were some plays out there that we could have made. I do think we've got to figure out how to get in rhythm. When you're using 6 receivers, you got to make sure everybody's in there for what they do best. And I think that's a little bit of a work in progress. But I think it's unfair right now to point fingers at a specific, whether it's play calling, whether it's Dak, whether it's our receivers. I just think we've got to do a better overall job of executing. And I think this thing will come together. We've got good leadership on this team. I know everybody's going to be ready to go back to work.
Okay, Shannon, does he have a point?
No. Skip, if you don't mind me, I want to ask you a serious, honest question, Skip Bayless.
Uh-oh.
What is harder, to play real quarterback or armchair quarterback? Troy Aikman played real quarterback.
Real quarterback.
Steven,
Yes.
you should know that.
Yeah.
Second of all, his second job is to analyze what he's watching. In the last, let's just say for the sake of argument, Skip, the last 3 years, how many Cowboy games do you think Troy Aikman has called? Now, if anybody knows what this offense looks like or what it should look like, I would probably defer to, as opposed to any other analyst, Troy Aikman.
Sure.
First half, they ran 22 plays for 60 yards, had 4 first downs. This is what we've been saying for the last couple of years. No imagination. In the last 9 games, Dak Prescott's last 9 games, 7 of them, he's thrown the ball for under 200 yards. You think Troy just pulled this out of the air? How many game films did you think Troy Aikman has actually sit down at his table or wherever in his office and broken down Cowboys? Broken down the Cowboys, Skip. He's probably watched, I would say conservatively, 50 games of the Cowboys breaking down tape.
Sure. And he lives in Dallas, so he just gets bombarded by all things Cowboys. But go ahead.
Okay. He does his job. He's being an armchair quarterback. He heap praises. He's being a homer. So how does Troy win?
It's a tough one.
Because he's a god. I mean, he and Roger Staubach are gods because they won Super Bowl as quarterback in the Dallas uniform. But Skip, he's being honest. Even you go like, well, everybody say, well, I don't see any imagination. Turn around, hand the ball to Zeke. Zeke gets stopped on first and second down, throw the ball on third down, incomplete, run off the field. Where's the imagination? Scott Linehan has never had imagination, Skip. This is always who they've been. Go back to 2014 and come forward. DeMarco Murray running the ball down the hill, the offensive line overwhelming you. One-on-one coverage, throw the jump ball to Dez Bryant. Now Zeke run the ball downhill. You don't have Zeke. You don't have receivers. What are you supposed to do? And Troy's looking at it like, I don't see no imagination.
Correct. So if Stephen Jones was pointing his comment just at Troy, that was way out of bounds because Troy was actually just matter of fact. He was completely fair and totally objective. And I didn't think he was overly negative at all. He was just saying what he was seeing.
I don't see any
what
imagination.
Everybody was seeing.
Right.
Okay, so I got no problem with that. I don't think Stephen was pointing directly at armchair quarterback Troy. I think he was doing it at armchair quarterbacks, plural, everybody on Monday morning. All the Monday morning quarterbacks want to overreact. And I'm back to what I told you to start this show, that when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys, most people are over the top, over the edge, overreactive to Cowboys' losses as opposed to wins. Either way, it can go whoosh, whoosh.
They go to the Super Bowl, they win.
Yep, you got it. So they lost 16-8 in the offense, at least for the first half, looked inept. It looked a little better in the second half when it had 172 total yards to Carolina's 84 yards. Not bad. So back to Stephen Jones. I liked the point he was making, other than if it were aimed at Troy Aikman, because the point was correct. I'm going to go back to what I also told you to start the show. Ezekiel Elliott had not played in a football game for 252 days, and the quarterback, Dak Prescott, had not played in a football game for 3 weeks and a day. He played 39 snaps in the preseason total, while that guy up in Foxborough, that 41-year-old, had 69 preseason snaps, 69 to 39, except Dak Prescott is working with all new receivers. So Sunday at Carolina against that front seven, heck, that front 11 for that matter, they're hellacious good, especially at home. You can't experiment on the fly with new receivers against that defense.
Right.
It's going to take time. And in the second half, I started to see little glimpses like, oh, maybe that could work. Maybe Cole Beasley had 7 catches for 73 yards. Maybe Zeke can run those little inside reverse handoffs off the shotgun. Maybe that will work if you sweep him off right, left tackle.
Right.
Maybe that'll work. Maybe Dak running the read option. Maybe that'll work. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe Deontay Thompson can get open here or there. What does he do best? Well, they don't know, because it's one thing, as you well know, to throw against air in camp practice.
Right.
It's real, man, and it is tough, and they are hellacious good at home. So you're trying to figure it out on the fly, and it didn't work. It didn't work like everybody hoped it would work, and you're all new. All those receivers are new, and now I'm going to bring up this. What did Bill Belichick have the guts to do yesterday? I don't know. I'm pretty sure Brady's in his ear saying, I just don't love my receiving corps, because obviously they don't have Edelman. They've lost countless receivers, right? Amendola's in Miami. I can go right down the list of all the people they tried in the offseason. And what did Belichick do? On Monday after the season opener, he says, I'm going to go get Corey Coleman, who got run out of Cleveland. Think of Corey Coleman's path. He's the star of the first Hard Knocks with his sneaker collection, right? And then he winds up at the end, play me or trade me. And they just dump him. They dump him to Buffalo, and Buffalo cuts him. And now Bill Belichick says, oh, watch this, because he only ran like 4.3 at the combine, like he can fly. Okay, so why didn't Dallas go get Corey Coleman, who grew up in Dallas, went to Richardson High School right there in North Dallas, not very far from where they practice? Okay, why didn't you do that? They added Benny Fowler yesterday in New England. Well, what's going on there? And guess what? Who did I love last year? Who did I say was Dak's favorite receiver last year? Bryce Butler. He got his money to go to Arizona, and then what happened on the final cut? He got cut. He went up and tried out for the Raiders before the season opener, and he's still on the market. Well, to me, can you swallow your pride and say, well, maybe Bryce Butler would make Dak feel a little more comfortable,
But Skip,
right?
Yeah.
Skip, this isn't just one game. We saw this last year, and every question that we had, Dallas, we said this, Dallas is devoid of playmakers on the outside. What happens if Zeke can't get it going? Then what?
Okay, well, they abandoned Zeke in the first half, which was shocking to me.
Right.
Because, again, I'll say it again, he did not look sleek and explosive like I was led to believe he was looking in camp practices, right? He looked not quite in shape yet. Does he have to play his way into shape? Well, just hammer him, pound him. He's the classic case that he's going to get stronger the longer the game goes on.
He definitely should have had more than 15 carries for the game. He normally has, you should probably have somewhere between 10 and 15 carries in the first half. Because for them to be successful, Skip, he's going to have to run the ball 25 times a game.
Okay.
It's as simple as that.
And Dak needs to do what you ridicule him of. He needs to Dak and dunk.
Right.
That's what I thought. All these new guys, you know, you still have Cole Beasley and you still have T. Will and Michael Gallup and Hearns and Deontay, but Dak and dunk. Bing, bing, bing. Just do what they do best. Little quick option routes. You just get them up. Just ball control. He was dropping back. I know they're in the shotgun, but it's the equivalent of 7-step drops, like hold the ball until K1 Short is all over you. That's what's going to happen.
But Skip,
6 sacks.
At some point in time, even Brady, where he spreads the ball around, he can get chunk plays with Gronk over the top, Hogan over the top. At some point in time, yeah, that dinking and dacking is good. You get a first down, you keep the chains moving. But it's going to be hard to methodically every single drive.
But Brady doesn't have Zeke. He doesn't have that.
Exactly.
That guy's a weapon.
Exactly.
He's got to be hot and in shape, and he's got to be rolling.
Hey, all I'm saying is that you knew your quarterback and your receivers hadn't had a whole lot of playing time together. Because everything you do in the preseason, Skip, is leading you to game one. I mean, we started.
I can't defend it. They said, let's just be healthy at the expense of chemistry, at the expense of, flow and rhythm. And nope.
I don't know how they did it. But the last preseason game 4 of the preseason, Skip, the starters weren't going to play. We were running plays against that we were going to run in the first game against the team that we were going to play.
I don't know.
That's how we were thinking. Everything we had done up until that point in the preseason was getting us ready for game one. That was our thought process. You're not going to play Dak. That makes it seem like Dak got like 13 years in the league and he's been with these receivers for 5 of them.
What?
Come on.
Because
man.
I must admit, as I looked at for the other debate that we did about Dak last year at all these good QBR games, well, the primary targets in every game that he had a high QBR was Dez Witten, Dez Witten, Dez Witten. Well, okay, you got to start over, man. I don't know.
Somewhere. No mercy. Tua Tagovailoa has 7 total touchdowns in his first 2 starts for Alabama, so it's no surprise he has the best odds to win the Heisman, according to Westgate. He's followed by Will Grier and Jonathan Taylor, and down at 6th on that list is Oklahoma quarterback Kyler Murray. He had 5 total touchdowns in the Sooners' blowout win against UCLA on Saturday. So Joel Klatt is joining us now, and we have been busy over the last couple weekends in Oklahoma, hanging out.
It's actually debatable. Are these too closer or are these too close?
Well,
I don't know.
We're like the voice of the Sooners, right?
I don't understand, Skip.
Point.
Like, normally people enjoy working with me. It's not, it doesn't have to be
I'm not
this
most
way.
people.
That is very true. Joel.
Understatement of the day.
Also, I never go to him first because this is how this thing works.
I like it.
You've seen Kyler. I've seen him.
Yes.
Been around him. Is he the kind of guy that has a chance at the Heisman?
I think it's going to be really difficult for Kyler, and there's a couple of things working against him, but there is a path. I think it's narrow, but there is a path. Let me start with what's working against Kyler at this point. One right now is his competition. You hear in a golf tournament all the time, how many guys do you have to pass?
Right.
It's not where you're at compared to the league. How many guys do you have to pass? And at this point, when I take a look at whether it's straw polls or odds makers, there's too many quarterbacks right now that are generating momentum ahead of Kyler Murray, namely Tua Tagovailoa at Alabama, who's got the brand, he's got the stages, he's got the plays, he's got all of that going. He's got the numbers as well, in particular on third down. 10 of 10 on third down with 4 touchdowns. On third down, Tua's playing great football. Will Grier at West Virginia, he's putting up great numbers right now and has that momentum. And Dwayne Haskins at Ohio State, he's also putting up great numbers. I would put all 3 of those guys right now above where Kyler's at. So he's got the competition to pass. And then there's also this other part. If he doesn't have better numbers throwing the football than Baker, I think that's going to hurt him. Because we just saw Baker in that uniform put up incredible numbers, including back-to-back years in which he set the NCAA mark for efficiency. That's going to work against him. His narrow path, guys, if he can have a Manziel Lamar Jackson-esque effect on the game with his legs, which may happen. Because remember, Rodney Anderson, their starting running back, goes down with a knee injury last week. Horrific news for the Sooners. Feel terrible for Rodney Anderson, but Shannon, Skip, that's the path. Now, all of a sudden, Kyler's legs become a bigger deal. If he can have that type of effect, that's his path to the Heisman Trophy.
Well, this is the reason I think he can, for the simple fact, Brand, Oklahoma, and he's going to put up big numbers. They're going to throw the ball. That's just what they do. And they will depend on his legs a lot more to help facilitate some of this offense. He has two great receivers.
Yep.
So when you look at it, he's going to be somewhere around 4,000 yards. He's going to be well over 30. You know, I don't know if he'll be 43-6 like Baker was last year, but we've seen teammates winning in back-to-back years. Matt Leinart wins it one year. Reggie Bush follows up the next year. But Oklahoma needs to stay in the top five.
Yeah.
They got to stay there because Will Greer is going to put up big numbers.
He will.
Now, don't sleep on that running back from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Now, he's going to
Great
be
point.
he might be somewhere around 2,300 yards.
Might.
And it's hard to overlook a guy that got that many yards running the football. And then Wisconsin might be a major player in the Big Ten. But right now, Tua is in the driver's seat. Now, there might come a point in time that he might have to get in the passenger seat or he might have to go to the back seat. But right now, the way Alabama is loaded and the way they're positioned, Skip, it's going to be hard for someone to overtake him. Yeah, look, I understand that Hurts came in because the game was going away, but I don't see as they start to move along and they get through tougher and tougher competition, I don't see them rotating as much with Jalen Hurts and Tua as they've been doing in the past. But this kid right here, for what he's doing, and it's about narratives.
Sure.
Oh, the dude played a half, won a national championship. He comes back, playing well, win the Heisman. That's a great narrative, Skip.
It's a great narrative. I would agree. So, just for the record, for what it's worth, several of our rapper friends here on Undisputed have been texting me during the OU games when I'm listening to YouTube, and I'm looking at my phone, and they are into Kyler Murray, especially our man Nelly. He is over the top on Kyler Murray.
Okay.
So, it's starting to hit me that there's some sort of bandwagon rolling because he is fun to watch.
Yeah.
I was a Baker fan. It's just going to be virtually impossible to top what Baker did the last 3 years, let alone this 1 year. But there is mystique to Kyler Murray because obviously he got drafted 9th overall by the Oakland A's. So he is a two-sport, maybe big star. And you've been watching him.
Yeah.
He's explosive.
He is.
And he carries himself with sort of the dignity of a kid who just knows he's really good at two sports.
Yeah.
Right? He carries himself like a professional to me, like high poise. You can just see him operate as if he believes in himself and what they can do in that offense under Lincoln Riley. I've also been watching Tua, and I have never seen anyone get off to a hotter start. It's just virtually flawless what he is doing. He's 25 of 35, but he's 6 touchdowns to no interceptions. As you talked about on third down, he's just perfect.
Yeah.
That's all he is perfect. And he has the pressure of a former starting quarterback looking over his shoulder, and I think a fairly quick hook, because we talked about it. I don't think Nick Saban thinks he's his cup of Gatorade. You know, he just doesn't like the way Tua plays, because Tua will take off and run with the football too. Tua will try throws that are kind of risky to me, and he pulls them off.
Well, that rolled around in the pocket and just flings it, and the guy catches it.
And it hits him right in the hands.
Nick Saban loves control.
He
and
does.
This is the first quarterback he's had out there. Now, granted, Tua's got the highest ceiling, and we all know that. But he also gives his coach the least amount of control.
Right.
You know, because you just don't know what he's going to do. He's going to spin around, then throw it into the corner of the end zone. And you're like, no, yes! You know, and that's what he does. I don't think Nick Saban loves that.
Okay, so I'm looking at Alabama's schedule, and it looks like it's pretty easy to me. Will they have trouble at Ole Miss? I mean, I'm looking at marquee big stage games where Tua can make a Heisman statement, where you say, aha. Well, they do have to go to LSU. Is that going to be – that's pretty tough.
Yeah, that's a rivalry game.
Could be, sure.
Okay, but other than that, Auburn at the end of the year, Mississippi, they get Mississippi State and Auburn, and those are two pretty good teams, but they get them in Tuscaloosa. Those Heisman statement games, I don't know. So OU plays at Iowa State. They lost to Iowa last week, so I don't think they're what they were a year ago.
You know, save for running back numbers, which are generally looked at as a total at the end of the season, and it doesn't quite matter what you did in the biggest games. quarterbacks are looked at very differently, and I think you actually need the close games in order to have those moments. I think that's what Baker had with Ohio State last year, early in the year. And what might work against Tua, this is crazy to say this, Alabama might just be too good.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, when is he going to be in the fourth quarter in the pressure cooker?
Crazy.
Maybe it's against LSU. Maybe it's against Auburn. Not sure. Maybe it's the SEC championship game until they're in a one-possession game in the fourth quarter. But when you look back to Baker last year, I mean, this dude was 7-0 against ranked opponents on the road. He was lights out in one-possession games in the second half. I don't know if that opportunity is going to be afforded a guy like Tua. That's why if I had to actually lay money down right now, I would lay money down on Will Grier or Dwayne Haskins to win the Heisman Trophy.
Guess where Kyler Murray goes for the final regular season game of this year at West Virginia.
At West Virginia.
That could be a shootout.
Will Grier, yeah.
If you think about it, Skip, Baker won the Heisman, but he had 3 years. You could see the building. We talk about, you mentioned Lamar Jackson, you mentioned Johnny Manziel. They had statement games.
Yeah.
Johnny Manziel went to Birmingham.
Tuscaloosa.
And he showed out. Lamar Jackson, even though he lost to Clemson, everybody's like, that's the best player in the country right there.
That game won him the Heisman Trophy.
Right. If Kyler Murray can have one of those games, because he just got on the scene, if he can have one of those games, okay, now he's a major, major player.
And I thought Bryce Love was like a front runner, and now he gets nicked early. And
he's so small, Skip, he's going to stay nicked.
I don't know. They say he might not play this week.
I mean, he's not even the top running back right now. Jonathan Taylor would be the top running back on that list for the Heisman Trophy. It'll be fascinating to see, but again, stages, brands and stages, that's what it comes down to.
And that's why I don't give Will Grier West Virginia. West Virginia, Heisman Trophy. And West Virginia always have that one game. They always have that one game. They always have that one game. You're like, how did y'all lose that, West Virginia?
And the scheduling this week really hurts Will Grier's Heisman chances because they were scheduled to play North Carolina State. That game has been canceled, obviously, with the storm coming. So that was a big non-conference statement for Will Grier. All of these little things affect how voters vote at the end of the season.
Interesting. And Skip, you brought up Kyler Murray and his following. Just for the record, he has more Instagram followers than you.
Really? How would you know that?
Because I do my research.
Do you follow me on Instagram?
Maybe.
Busted.
Maybe. I know you're new to this, but Kyler Murray has you beat.
I just started.
You've got some work to do.
3 days ago. I started 3 days ago.
Joel, I will see you in Texas.
We'll be there.
I will see you in Texas.
I don't post.
Maybe he'll watch us, maybe not. Okay. No mercy. LeBron's move to the Lakers has been the most talked about story of the NBA offseason. LeBron's former teammate, Hall of Famer Ray Allen, was asked yesterday how the young and old Laker players will mix together. And of course, it starts and stops with LeBron. Take a listen.
A lot is going to contend on those older players and how they ingratiate themselves to this new mix. Because even LeBron has to reinvent himself.
What kind of player do you think he'll be?
It's difficult to say because you know how he's been for us and what we've seen over years past. When I played with him, he had a lot around him that could do different things. So he didn't always have to carry the weight. Cleveland was a little different. He needed more shooters around him. So he doesn't have that many shooters around him. So how are they going to fit in? And, you know, Stevenson and Rondo both need the ball in their hands. So is he going to give up more of that responsibility? And is he going to become somewhat of a spot-up shooter at the same time, or are those guys going to become spot-up shooters? Going to be interesting to watch.
Shannon, what do you make of this?
Wow.
I agree to it. I agree to it at a certain extent. It's hard for me to believe that LeBron is going to go long periods of time of not having the ball in his hand, considering he's had such great success. Now, Skip, we did see him for a few years in Cleveland get off the ball and let Kyrie, but a lot of that was duress because Kyrie was a guy that can go get his own shot, make buckets, and he's right. Rondo does need the ball. So does Lance Stevenson. Kuzma needs the ball. Ingram needs the ball. Lonzo doesn't need the ball. It's hard for me to see Lonzo playing off the ball because he's not a spot-up shooter. He's not a three-point shooter. Rondo is not a three-point shooter.
No.
So we haven't seen anything like this. I do believe they still have more talent at Lakers this year than what he had when he took Cleveland to the finals in I think that was 07, Skip, he took against the Spurs.
Yep.
I believe they have more talent, but I don't know if I've ever seen LeBron with a team like this because they don't really have shooters. They have guys that can do some things, but as far as shooters, LeBron getting and kicking to someone and then like knocking down shots. I read where Caldwell Pope has been working on his His 3 knockdown.
He's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you look at it, Skip, he really is going to have to reinvent himself. But it's hard for me to believe that a guy that's had such great success, 15 years, this will be his 16th season, playing the type of game, playing the type of ball that he's played, it's hard for me to envision him in year 16 playing any other way. It was reported that what intrigued him about Philly was Ben Simmons running the point, and then he can play mainly exclusively off the ball because he's really never had anyone that could take the game. It's like, okay, LeBron, don't even worry about it. We got it. That's why he's led his team.
Ben Simmons isn't a spot-up shooter. He's just a non-shooter. Right.
Well, I guess he's working on that, Skip. working on it.
Got a lot of work to do.
But LeBron, it's hard for me to believe that, Skip, he can play. I know he can, but he's had success with the ball in his hands. I envision him still playing the majority of the game with the ball in his hands.
Do you?
Yes. Do you?
So is Rondo going to be on the bench? Is Lonzo going to be on the bench? I don't know, because I don't see how they're on the floor if the ball's
those two guys can't be on the floor with LeBron anyway.
And they can't be on the floor together, I don't think. I don't know. So, to start off with, I want you to think about this.
Okay.
Over LeBron's 4 years in Cleveland in his second time around, the last 4 years in Cleveland, the Cavaliers were second over those 4 years in three-point shooting in the league to Golden State. Second to Golden State.
Right.
Just last year, the Lakers, obviously without LeBron, were second to last in three-point shooting to Phoenix, who was dead last, okay? So he's gone from a really good three-point shooting team to one that last year, they got new pieces, but last year was really bad three-point shooting. Lonzo had a lot to do with that. They all had a lot to do with it, okay? So they've added a bunch of, to me, misfit pieces that don't seem to all click together, like it's all pieces to the wrong puzzle. And maybe they're just Magic's trying to get through a year with contracts that are all finite, like you can just wipe them all off and wait to play for a year from now when you can add the big max free agent and maybe even another one.
You know who about to sign with Rich Paul? That old big guy down in New Orleans. He about to sign with you. Hey, Skip Bayless.
Well, maybe he's destined, okay? Maybe somebody's destined. But we're talking about this coming year. Nothing seems, I can't make 2 + 2 equal anything but 0. Like it just doesn't fit in my head.
It seemed like they wanted all toughness.
Okay. So I will say this about Kyrie and LeBron. They were actually a great tandem together. I know they didn't fit off the floor in the locker room on the bench.
Right.
But just as a basketball tandem, it really worked because they could both play the point and they could both play the 2. And they could kind of alternate. If LeBron needed to rest a little bit, you could do this. You could go back and forth. Kyrie was a really good 2 guard. If you wanted him just to score.
Oh, well, that's mainly what he is. He's a 2 ball. He's a 2
who can still play the 1 just fine.
And that's what all these Skip. That's what all these point guards are. They're masquerading. James Harden is a 2.
Okay.
Russell is a 2.
All right. So it's very interesting what Ray said because he's pointing up to Miami. He said LeBron didn't always have to carry weight in Miami because they were loaded, man. And LeBron did win 2 of his championships there. One because of that guy, Ray Allen.
No. Ray did his job, Skip.
Yeah, he canceled out LeBron's mistakes in that crucial Game 6, and he hit the greatest clutch shot I've ever seen, and he saved LeBron's legacy.
You don't want to. Why you?
LeBron did not have to carry weight in that game because all the weight got carried by one flick of the wrist.
I just want to know, did Vinatieri save Brady's legacy with those field goals?
Brady set him up. LeBron had nothing to do with the last play except he bricked his shot.
Skip, what about those?
Was that planned?
Skip, what about?
Wait, do you go in the sideline huddle and you say, I'm going to miss this so badly, we're going to have a long rebound to Chris Bosh, who can then kick it into the corner to a wide open Ray.
You do realize, Skip Bayless, they were down 10 points going into the fourth quarter, and LeBron James scored 16 points. He assisted another 6. They scored 30.
You do realize in the last 3 minutes of that game, LeBron James had 3 shockingly unforced error turnovers, uncharacteristic. Like, what are you doing, LeBron? 3 of them. And he allowed my team back into the game that he had taken over.
Your team had the lead.
Then they surged back and they took over.
We didn't have a lead.
And then my guys go to the free throw line and
exactly. But until Ray Allen shot, that was the only time that game was tied in the fourth quarter.
Allen saved his life.
But LeBron had to get him close, Skip. LeBron said, "I'm gonna get you close, Ray."
Yep. So then LeBron had 2 threes in the last couple of minutes. Nope. But the big one, this is the do-or-die 3 from LeBron James. Nothing but iron. Back
made
iron.
3 of them, though.
Boing,
You talk
boing.
about the ones he missed. You won't talk about the ones
So
he made.
that's what happened in Miami because he didn't have to carry his weight. But Cleveland was different because he's got spot-up shooters around him. He's got Kyrie to ride shotgun with him.
Yeah.
And they are the second best over those 4 years three-point shooting team. And by the way, last year, LeBron shot the three pretty well. He went over 400 attempts for the first time in his career, and he shot 37%. That will work.
Yeah.
That's not bad. I mean, I can make
Might
the case.
be 40 this year.
This is horrifying
Might be
to
40.
point this out, but LeBron might be the best three-point shooter on this team right now.
You say
that's
that,
frightening.
You say that like you shocked. Like
That is frightening. That is a scary proposition.
Might
for
be
this year's
40%
Lakers.
this year.
And then the other thing that disturbs me, I applauded on this show right and left last year. James Harden and Chris Paul, I didn't think they could play together, but what did they do the whole offseason? It seemed like every other day, if not every day, they're up at UCLA, which is about a mile from here, playing pickup basketball together, backcourt together, trying to figure out each other's rhythms.
Right.
And boy, they made it fly. Once the real game started, they were ready to roll, weren't they?
Yeah, you watch Ben Simmons and LeBron playing at Lifetime.
Oh, so is Ben on the Lakers next year?
Oh, we ain't worried about that.
So every time I turn around, LeBron's in another country promoting something else for Nike. He's at Fashion Week in New York.
Yeah.
He's watching his
I
kid
should've
play AAU in Las
Yeah.
Vegas. I have never seen a busier off-season travel schedule than LeBron James has undertaken
Is he
this
putting
year.
that work in?
I don't know.
You do know.
He might be lifting weights, but is he putting in work with his new teammates?
Yes.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
Are they on the road with him? Did he take
No.
them to Germany and China with him?
No, they can't go over
Did
there.
they take the Laker team planes
No,
to
no, no,
China?
no. They can't go. They can't go.
So
over
he's practicing in the afternoon with his new teammates?
He putting that work in.
Really?
Didn't Kuzma tweet and say he
He
been
might
working with him?
be putting that vanity work in the gym, but
No,
not
don't
the
do that.
basketball
He's
work.
putting that work in.
I'm serious. I've never. It smacks of semi-retirement, but I don't know.
Skip, why would you
kinda
do that?
Smacks of that.
Let me ask you a
We
question.
know he's not chasing Michael Jordan. He's chasing Michael B. Jordan now in the offseason, and it's okay.
Might
It's
pass
okay.
both of them. Got a movie coming out.
So is it possible
Small
next
Bigfoot.
year is
Small
just,
foot?
Next year's just a give-up year?
You see it?
Just a write-off.
He got an
year.
animation movie coming
I
out.
saw
Small
it.
foot.
I saw it.
And
It
he
looks
got a,
funny.
And he got
I
a
might go see it.
I'm going to see it. And he got a docuseries with Ben Simmons coming
He's
out.
got every other day. He's got another produced by LeBron James.
And
right?
but all that being said,
Yeah.
he's still putting that work.
How about the shop?
That come on. Come
Oh.
on next week, I think.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know when he has time to
You do
actually
know.
practice basketball.
You do.
And he's definitely not practicing with Lonzo and Rondo.
Get
Right?
their work in.
Huh?
Just get their work in.
Yeah.
Just get their work in.
It doesn't
And when
matter
he show
what's
up-
going to happen. He'll just show up and kind of beat LeBron, try to win MVP. But they'll finish 8th and get eliminated by Golden State
We already
first
got
round. It's okay.
we got due on that.
Yeah.
They're not finishing 8th.
I don't know.
Yeah, and
So,
they got-
so he's so good now in year 16, he can just show up, snap his fingers, and it happens, right? All new misfit
And
toys
you know
here.
this,
Island
man.
of misfit toys.
What you mean? Don't worry about that.
They're
Skip.
misfits,
Skip.
all of it.
This man can put it together.
Can he?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, he's going to have to impress me because I don't see this coming.
Know what you see, Skip? You see these cooking shows. They give you all this stuff. Don't none of it go together, Jim. They give you grapes. They
No.
give you chocolate. They give you lobster. They give you scallops. They give you arugula, asparagus, carrots, and they're like, make something. Make something out of this. You're like, ugh, yuck. None of this goes together.
I don't
and next
know
thing
cooking
you know,
shows. I don't know anything about it. I just watched my brother win Iron Chef.
That's what I'm talking about. And he was on the Iron Chef. Guess what, Skip? With all them ingredients that didn't go together.
throw it at
Yeah,
you.
exactly.
Makes
You
it
just
work.
do it.
And Rob Palinka and Magic Johnson just threw it at him.
So
Make it
you're
work,
saying-
Ron.
You're saying my brother Rick is LeBron James. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's a compliment, I think.
Whatever.
Yeah. But my brother's like 6-0 in the final.
No mercy.
Thanks as always for listening to the Undisputed podcast. I'm Jenny Taft. Join us again at the same time tomorrow morning, 9:30 Eastern. See you then.
Fox Sports. One of one.